It's live? I am so grateful to all of you for being here and showing me appreciation. I mean, it means so much to me, more than it could have earlier, to do this at this
Kim,
time of my life.
Kim, speak in the mic.
Oh. You got to remember, though, that it's been a long time since I've been speaking online, you know? But I've got to remember. Just remind me if I...
Yeah, of course. But so you're here and everybody is loving you and is celebrating your career. The truth is, as a child, you never dream of being an actress.
Oh, no, it would never have entered my mind. I was way too... I was on my right on the top. Tell me where's the best place?
I think here, like this.
Oh, this
yeah.
way, like this. Okay. So when I was young, I was so shy that when people would come to the house, I was hiding behind the curtains. You know, and then my mother would bring me out and I'd feel so embarrassed. But yeah, I would never have dreamed of becoming an actress. I would rather be on the other side of the camera.
And you were thinking of becoming a painter, correct?
Well, yes. I used to go when my dad would get home from work. I'd be sitting in the railroad station and waiting for him, and I'd be drawing pictures of everybody I'd see coming off. I mean, I was fascinated with it, and yeah, it was the love of my life. And I wasn't that good in school, but when I got the scholarships to go to the Chicago Art Institute, I mean, it was like, it gave me a purpose, do you know? Because it was like I would maybe get B's and some C's, you know, and suddenly that was something I could excel in, and it made me feel strong.
So in 1953, you were in Los Angeles and you were doing some modeling work, you know, and then you had a small part in a dance sequence.
Say that again?
You had a small part in a dance sequence in the movie French Line, and an agent noticed you, right? And that led to a Columbia test screen.
I didn't get what you meant. Are you talking about Picnic, the dance scene?
Yes, the dance scene in French Line. Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, well, that was amazing because at the time there were lots of tornadoes going on, and the electricity in the air is what became the music that we were dancing to in a funny way. I mean, it's like we had rehearsed, but suddenly with the thunder and lightning going on, it brought an extra energy, you know, that we could connect to.
But what did you think when you were asked by Columbia to meet Eric Cohn, and they did a screen test of you and they gave you a contract to be at the studio?
Well, actually, Harry Cohn didn't think that much of putting me under contract, but the agent there, he had such a belief in that I could do something that he really, because Harry Cohn, he heard my voice, he said, no one will ever hear you because you speak and so soft, you know, you've got to speak up, you know. And so I was definitely not on his favorite list, but it worked out. I mean, to me, everything sort of fell in place. Do you know what I mean? It was like these doors that were, you see doors, they look closed, but some doors, you almost know that you barely breathe on them and they open. Do you know? And that's what was happening. It really was. And so everything sort of fell in place. And it just seemed to flow like it was meant to be. But by the same token, at a certain time, I also felt a time when it was not easy to push a door.
What was the studios had actors under contract, and they were pretty much doing what they wanted with them. You know, they were sort of making them to be stars, and so they were taking over. How did it feel when they tried to take over you and your identity?
I, I'm not getting what you want.
Yeah, when you were at Columbia, they tried to change your hair color. They tried, the makeup. Everything was transforming you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funny part of it, is that they hire you because you seem like you have something different, something special to give. And then when you get there, they get insecure. And so they think, well, we've got to make sure we found a winner. And so they start putting all the people that have been successful before, and they decide which part of each one, because they figure if you get a little bit of each star before you, then they're bound to succeed. But I mean, for me, I couldn't believe it, And so first thing I did would go to the restroom and start wiping off the extra lipstick. Get this big mouth. It was not good. But the thing is that I did it just before they started shooting. So once they got the first thing of film in, they had no choice. They had to keep it with a little less bright lips
And the big star at the moment was Marilyn Monroe, so the hair was supposed to be like that, but you put your own spin to the blonde.
Yeah, I would love to do, well, in some ways, a movie today, just because you have so much more freedom. You can go and mess up your hair, and you don't have to. But I've gotten used to Hollywood, my goodness. Everything hair had to be in place. Just when you're really into doing the scene and it's so happening, and they say, wait a minute, we got to fix that hair that's coming down the middle of her face, And it's so nice now that they don't have to do those things.
And they even tried to change your name.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, can you imagine? They wanted to call me Kit Marlowe. And I said, Kit Marlowe? And they said, yes, because they used to think of you as a kitten. I mean, I'm so not like a kitten. It's true. Oh.
So did Harry Cohn like it that you stood up to him?
Well, yes. I mean, yes and no. I was determined to find something soft in that man, because he was so harsh and so hard and so brittle and such a dictator. But I was determined to find a gentleness somewhere. So one time I was living at the Studio Club, which is an all-girls studio thing. And one time I went in the kitchen and made up a big batch of chocolate fudge. And I went and I brought it into his office, and I said, Merry Christmas, Harry. And he looked at me, whoa, what do you got there? I said, it's a present for you. And by God, I think it's the only time anyone has ever seen him. He actually got teary. He couldn't believe anyone wanted to give him something that they made themselves, And so we got an understanding after that. Yeah, for sure.
You spoke very highly of the Hollywood Studio Club, because it was a residence for only girls,
yes,
but not just actresses, but also editors and everyone in
only actors or singers,
yeah,
people that are in the business,
yeah,
had to be. You couldn't live there otherwise.
Yeah.
And what a great place to go first, because you can get in so much trouble out there. But you had to be in at a certain time or you didn't get dinner. And the rules that they had were just amazing. I think that it saved a lot of girls. I wish they had it now, but it saved them a lot from going down the wrong path. Because a lot of these girls are so young, and they don't really know yet what to trust and what not to trust. And so suddenly, if you have a place where they have rules, no one could call after a certain hour. You had to be in by 10 o'clock at night unless you had a pass, And these are things that were a blessing for me, They kept me out of trouble.
Were you scared when they started casting you in films with bigger parts? I'm thinking Pushover was one of the big first ones. Were you scared?
Oh, yes. Well, yes, but in a funny way, it seemed to flow. Just like the thing with the doors, it was like I felt I moved with it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I wasn't really afraid.
You have said in the past that when they ask you about what you're acting, the secret of your acting, you said, I'm a reactor.
That's right.
Explain that for our audience.
Well, I am who I am, you know, and I don't know how to pretend. I just don't know how to. And when I got in show business, I didn't really have any training or anything. But actually, the man at the studio, he studied under Stanislavski in Russia. And he said, you know, I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, how can I go out there and do this? He said, don't try to act. Just be real. Just bring yourself to it. And that allowed me to react. It taught me that I don't want to act, because he said, don't try to act. I don't know if he was doing that because he think I couldn't handle it, or was it just whatever. But the bottom line is, he really believed it, that you want to be real and authentic, you know. And so I learned to react. But on the other hand, when I was given a bad movie, I was reacting to the bad movie and always wishing I had subtitles that could say, I don't really want to do this, this is not good. You know, I didn't know how to handle it any other way. So therefore, I think in movies that were not good, it's my excuse anyway, that I didn't even try to act. I just reacted. And when you have a bad director, you react to it. But when you have, I was so fortunate, so many great directors, so reacting was perfect. I was reacting to the script, to the direction, to everything. And that felt right. And I then felt that's when I was doing my best.
Did you have any, you know, with the studio, they had you do noir films, they had you do comedies, musical.
Yeah.
Did you feel more closer to one genre, or it depended on the film and on the script?
I loved the fact that they would give me different things, because it was allowing me to explore funny things, sad things. I loved it. Each time was a new challenge, and I like to rise to a challenge.
And in terms of directors, you know, and we can leave Hitchcock aside for a moment, but which were the studio directors that you think that were important in your careers?
I worked with so many great directors. Billy Wilder was one of my favorites. Oh my goodness, he had such a great sense of humor. I didn't go in thinking I was going to enjoy that role, but it was so much fun doing that. That was in Kiss Me Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiss Me Stupid, I think so, yeah.
What about Richard Quine? You made 3 films with him. Richard Quine.
Oh, with Richard Quine. You know, I fell in love with him first off. I mean, it was like, well, he was everything I wished my father had been in a way. He was my father was wonderful, but he ruled with not an iron fist, but still. But to work with Richard Quine, he was so gentle and so giving and allowing me to, he believed in me. And therefore, I felt I could do it. Do you know, I could be there and get into it. I could talk with him. He could explain things to me, he spoiled me rotten. My first movies, you know. And as I say, I fell in love with him. We were engaged to get married, really. But I've never been a fan of marriage particularly. Sorry. Well, I mean, it's just that, you know what gets to me is like when you're going to get married, it's like show business. It's like getting into the studio. They love you because you have something different and special that they connect to. And then you get married, and suddenly they try to change you in the same way. I don't think intentionally. You know, a man loves you and you love him. But it seems to be, I don't know, at least with me, it seemed to me that marriage was always about having to surrender to a man, you know? And it just, es- especially when you're not a boxing fan and you have to watch boxing every night, you know? And you have to have lunch just because it's lunchtime, not because you're hungry, but it's lunchtime. Where's lunch? You know, and I've lost my husband and I miss him so much. But on the other hand, as I don't mean to say but, but I have so much, I can do what I feel, I mean, especially with my art, because I love to paint, and so many times, I'd be still working in my studio, my husband, when are you coming to bed, sweetheart? And those kind of things, you know. I like to get up whenever I have the urge to paint. So I go in my studio, I just barefoot and sometimes bare, period, and just have to get to the canvas and start working, you know? And I love that passion. I think one should follow their passion, you know? And be expressed whenever it feels like you need to do that. You just need to do that.
What do you think painting gives you that movies couldn't give you?
Well, in movies, you've got so many people telling you what to do. Not just a husband, not just a director, not just the producer, not just the makeup and the hair. And in a painting when I'm working, I'm the director, I'm the actor, the reactor actually, and all of these things, you know? And I'm able to put down, and in almost all my paintings, I'm always expressing freedom. You know, to me, that's what it's about. It's about freedom, freedom of expression, whatever. Yeah.
You were very young when you were in, where you were in Hollywood at the beginning. Were your co-stars generous with you? Were they giving you advice? I'm thinking, Fred MacMurray, Jack Lemmon, Frank Sinatra. You acted with all of them. Were they kind to you?
The actors?
Yeah, the actors. Yeah.
For the most part, yes, for the most part. But every now and then you have to work with someone that is not on the same approach to acting. And of course, they feel probably that I don't have the right approach, and oftentimes they didn't want to try to tell the director what to tell me, but they would oftentimes try to let you know in strange ways. I mean, ways that were so foreign to me. It's like they would think that the rhythm of the scene should be at a certain rhythm, a certain pace. And I mean, I had my own pace, my own rhythm, but it's not easy when suddenly you're working with an actor and they are trying to send you messages because they'll want the director to see that they're doing it. But and I won't mention which actor, but they would start moving their eyes to show the rhythm that they think the scene should be played in. And for a reactor, how the hell am I supposed to react to someone who's rolling their eyes? I thought, please don't make me have to look at this. I mean, it's strange, but a lot of people, they think they've got the right way. There is the only way, the right rhythm, the right whatever.
Do you enjoy, you're thought of big dramatic roles, but you're great at comedy. You're very, very funny when you do comedies. Did you enjoy?
Thank you. So often I would be so intense, and so I wouldn't. I mean, if you'd see me off stage, I would be not laughing, or they would not be laughing at me, or maybe they were, but they didn't let me know. Yeah, it's hard to see sometimes, but I do love comedy. I mean, I love the whole timing. I love doing Polly the Pistol. Although at first when I did it, I thought, oh my God, no. I shouldn't do this, because if I do it right, they're going to think I'm Polly the Pistol, sort of fluffy-headed. And if I do it wrong, they're going to think, well, she can't act. She can't pretend. I thought there's no-win situation. It's a no-win, no-win. But as it turned out, But you see, everything is a matter of when it happens. At the time, in fact, most all my films at the time when they happened were not really respected as much as they didn't get it. But I mean, rather than try to be what was supposed to be at the time, I still felt, well, the same with my art. I feel I don't want to paint just because this is what's in style right now, or like someone else's. I have to be authentic and paint what I feel. And so when you do that, it's a risk, because it risks at that time not to be appreciated. You know, because it's like you're not giving them what they're saying is the in thing at the time.
Well, for example, the Man with the Golden Arm was a very risky film. It was controversial. It showed addiction in a very realistic way, you know, and it was a risk both for you and Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Frank Sinatra, it was wonderful. I loved it, and I loved the whole thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Otto Preminger, he was known for being tough on actors, but not with you.
No, I mean, because I respected what he respected, do you know? I mean, naturally, not because you respected that, but we both felt like you give it everything you have, and it's gotta be appreciated that you were there on time and that you knew your lines. I mean, these are things that most people think are not that important, but they are, and he respected that. I mean, when an actor, Frank Sinatra, he respected also for the right reasons, because he was always on time, knew his lines and everything. He was right there. And that's what mattered to Otto Preminger. He wanted the respect of the actors that he was working with. And so many people, they'd say, I'm a little late, but I had to have one more cup of coffee, or they didn't know the lines. They're asking the script girl what to say. And those things matter to people like that. So those directors I got along great with. Alfred Hitchcock, same thing. Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock paid a lot of money to get you out of your Columbia contract to act in Vertigo.
Yeah.
And that was unusual at the time, right?
Yes. Yes, it was a huge role. Of course, Harry Cohn was getting paid for it. I wasn't, you know.
In fact, you went on strike.
Pardon me?
You went on strike.
That's true. Of all movies to do it, to risk something on. But you know, sometimes you have to risk. You have to take the risk because of what you believe is right.
So just before Vertigo started, you stopped working, you went on strike, and you demanded better pay.
I didn't do it as a demand.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if they wouldn't do it, I wouldn't be showing up. You know, I had to have enough belief in myself. Actually, Frank Sinatra's the one who helped me on that. He said, is it true that you are working under salary and paid? I think I was being paid $150 or maybe $300 tops a week for that. And he said, that's not right. You're worth more than that. You know you are. And I said, well, you know, and he made me, convince me. So he did help me a lot on that one. But yeah, it wasn't right. He convinced me that it wasn't it because, and thank God they went along with it and did raise my salary, which was nice. So, you know, you chalk up some wins and you start to think back, why did you have those wins? It was because you believe in it and also because it was the right thing, you know? And times when you don't, you think, well, maybe I was out of line.
Vertigo. Why did this playing two women? I mean, you're essentially playing two women, very different from each other.
Yeah.
Was that daunting? And why did you like it? Is the role that you are the most associated with still today?
I liked it for a couple of reasons. Of course, I loved it because, well, I mean, it was like the story of my life at Hollywood. It's like, oh my God, they're trying to change me again, do you know? By the way, Am I talking this way too much or not enough?
No, we are opening to the audience in a minute, so they will also ask question. Yeah, we are opening to the audience. They will also ask question. Yeah, but speak about Vertigo first, and Judy and Matt.
So anyway, there was also the fact, being bipolar, that I have two sides, and I love playing dual roles because I get a chance to express a different point of view. You know? So that was a lot of it, but of course the main thing was, it was the life I knew about trying to change you over. And so it was a natural for me to understand the characters and the meaning they had.
And was Jimmy Stewart a great partner to work with?
Oh, the best. You know, I mean, I do find the best way to describe it is like wearing a pair of comfy slippers that you slip in. He made you feel comfortable. He had such a way of just making you feel, but also he was a reactor. He's not an actor, he's a reactor. And so working together with him and both of us reacting to that script, which was amazing, and to everything, and to each other, of course, I think gave it something extra special, you know? Working with someone of the same perspective.
And Hitchcock is known for being an extremely controlling director, but is it true that he let his actors go free?
Where he was controlling was about where you stood, how all of these things mattered, the rhythm, the timing, but he never, I mean, in fact, I asked Jimmy Stewart, why isn't he telling me what he wants me to be thinking? And I said, he hired you because he thought you were right for it. And it took me a while to get used to it, but then I thought, wow, what an opportunity. What an opportunity to be able to, and then also the fact that he insisted on wearing that gray suit and black shoes, which I mean, I have just a silly thing about me is that, to me, the top of your head and your shoes should be together so that you're not grounded to the earth and that you're free to fly when you want to fly or do whatever. And so all these things were obstacles for me. But then once I told him how I felt, and he listened to everything. I was able to say, I talked to him, and at the end of it he said, you're going to wear that gray suit, and you're going to wear black shoes. And he said it in a nice way, it's like smiling. Then when I left, I thought, oh my gosh. Then I thought, oh my God, of course. That is the thread that's going to make it work, is that Judy, suddenly to having to be Madeline, she was a little uncomfortable in it. You know, it was like, it was foreign to her, and then vice versa with the others. And so all of these things, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but it certainly gave me the way to play it. And as I say, I asked Jimmy Stewart, what does he want me to do? But I had free rein in my head. You know, I don't mind anyone telling me you're going to sit here or stand there. Okay, but don't tell me how to think. I have to think for myself. That's the only way I have something to offer, because it's different than everybody else, you know?
And was it difficult when you were given scripts that you didn't think, you didn't like, that you didn't think were worth it, and you were still, because you were under contract, you had to make those movies?
I had to. Under contract in those days, you were told exactly what to do, which parts to play. But for the most part, well, he had really good taste, Harry Cohn. He knew how to find good stories and good things, thank goodness. But when he passed, when he died, it was nobody else. They had lived under a dictator for so long that then suddenly they were offered, well, you're now having to be in charge. They didn't know what a good script even was, because they never exercised their own judgment. It's not easy, as we all know, to live under a dictator.
Yeah.
You're turning red.
I'm turning red slightly. That was a good one. So you, because of this, because of the materials, you wanted better material for yourself, you founded a production company, which
true.
it was one or two women at the time that
Yeah.
had their production company. That took some guts.
Exactly, because I was still under contract, but I needed to have my voice heard. And so I thought, I'm going to just start my own company so that when I'm through at Columbia, I can pick some of the movies that I want to play in, you know, rather than always having to be pretty, you know. I mean, the director of Picnics had always said, and he was right, that being pretty was a handicap. And it is a handicap. Luckily, I'm old now, so the looks don't matter. But back then, it mattered. And the thing is, now I can't remember what I was going to say.
Well, you were talking about being pretty being a handicap, and
yes.
yeah.
Yes, it is, because they don't expect you to be able to do anything of meaning, really, you know? And it's like, having, again, the bipolar, knowing I have the dark side as well, I wanted to play sometimes and express my concept of dark, you know? I have my own feeling of what is dark, and I wanted to put that, because it's real again. It's real for me to go get very depressed and all, and so yeah, I did. I kind of resented not being able to express my dark side as well, you know? It's part of you. You want to, well, for one, it's like with my painting. I find it so rewarding in the sense that it gives me that freedom, you know, and it gives me the right not to have to be pretty, because at this age, but it's like I can do all of that. Well, I think it's a thing of knowing that I am not the canvas. Someone actually said that about me, and I picked up the line because it's so true. Rather than having to be the canvas, you can create your canvas. I mean, it's so wonderful to not have to always be a glamour person. It's so wonderful to be able to grow and to know that you can feel different at different times in your life, and you can express many things. And you know, I mean, so many actors today, I really admire the freedom that they have. They have so much freedom. They're not under contract, but they're able to pick for themselves what they feel is appropriate. And if they're good enough, they'll get it. And if they don't do it, they won't, in which case they need to look for another outlet, another way. Yeah.
And I understand you believe in signs, you know, you believe in signs, in destiny and signs. And
absolutely.
And when you decided to leave Hollywood, it was a meteorological, you know, it was an accident almost like you were, the way you arrived, yeah.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden, reading signs and believing in destiny, things started happening. Like I lost my house in a fire, and so many things that were pointing. The funny thing is, I always said, the day that I'll stop living in Hollywood is when I can no longer, as I do my own makeup, all in my own hair. I don't like anyone messing with me. I want to do it mine. So I said, the day that I can no longer put on my own false eyelashes, I'm obviously not going to hang around. But I mean, that was a silly thing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you really analyze it, if your hands start getting shaky and you don't feel stable enough to do something, that's a sign. It's a sign that, you know, it's not meant to happen right now. And also, of course, as I say, they started offering me scripts that were really not good. I didn't want to be part of them. Playing a beach girl, a Sandra Dee kind of comedy. So I couldn't take it. And then I knew that what I really wanted all my life was to paint, to be an artist. That's what I was meant to be. And I've often felt that somehow, in a reverse, kind of weird way, is that I got famous in Hollywood. I don't know if it's rationale or what, but that maybe I was to get famous in Hollywood so that people would look at my art. And I think that is true in a way, but because you don't always recognize what is worthwhile, you know? But suddenly it's like, I do want people to see my perspective, what I've learned through my life with Hollywood and with reacting to so many things. And I put them all in my, I mean, there's not a, I don't paint fast like most people, zip, zip, and there it is. I take a long time for it to tell me what it wants to say to me as I say to it. And so when you're painting on something like that, you're getting the negative and the positive. You're getting the depression and the excitement of like flying in the clouds, you know? It's like all of it comes in, and so all of it finds its place. So I might take a month, maybe even more with a painting to put on the things that come into it. And I like them to be disguised. I think it's something I got from Alfred Hitchcock, because I always loved a mystery. and my paintings they're the kind where you're not going, oh, that's a pretty painting. I don't want you to see a pretty painting. I want to see what I'm trying to say in it, you know? And so that's what I try. Thanks for understanding.
Shall we open it to the public for questioning? Shall we open it to the public for questions?
Oh, please, I would love that. Not that you weren't doing a good job.
No, but I think we need. I think we need to give them some space. And is it okay? Do you want to put your headphones? No, I'll translate for you. I'll translate.
Oh, how do I do that?
No, I'll translate for you.
Oh.
Ok, ci sono domande? Allora, una domanda là in fondo.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I'm from South Africa. I just wanted to say it's a real honor to meet you. We're in the presence of a real legend here. I wanted to know, we all know the classic work you've done. What I want to know is which of your films do you wish was more recognized and more seen?
Which of your films, first of all, thank you, you're a legend, but which of your films do you think would have been should have been more recognized or seen?
Oh, I have one. Thank you. Good question, because I do have a film that I really, really felt so connected to in every respect, and that is Gene Eagles. I mean, no one probably even heard of it. You know that film? Oh my goodness. Because in America, they didn't get it. I don't know, because I had terrible reviews. And so for a long time, I felt kind of almost like ashamed to say that was my favorite film. But that film expressed everything, my growing up, my excitement about communicating my feelings, you know, and wanting with a burning desire to be able to be part of the industry that I oftentimes say that I walked away from, and I feel a little guilty about that. But the thing is, it's everything I went through, and it's all my desires that I oftentimes didn't tell you how much it meant to me, because I didn't want to be laughed at, because I maybe wasn't good enough. And so, you know, when someone tells you you might not be good enough, you want to say, well, I didn't want to be good anyway. And so it somehow, yeah, but I'm so glad to be here, because I give you my heart.
There's a question right here, in second row. Not much.
Okay, now, yes.
Yes.
Hi, Kim, nice to meet you. We are glad to have you here in Venice. It's such an honor for all of us. We're here for you. The other day, I saw your documentary, and I loved seeing you going back to your costumes, your scripts from your past. And while watching the movie, I was wondering, is there any movie memorabilia, any prop, any costume that you wish you would have saved? And that maybe when you think about your career, you're like, I wish I had it.
He said that he loved the documentary, Alexander's film. He really loved it, and he wonders if, and if in the movie you go through, the green suit, the gray suit, and other memorabilia. And he says, is there anything that you wish you had saved from the films that you do not have?
Yes, yes. I loved also Bell Book and Candle. I really enjoyed playing that. It was. Thank you. Thank you. You can't know how much I appreciate you're appreciating me. Anyway, yeah, I used to like to have one thing from a movie, as a remembrance. And so from Bell Book and Candle, I wanted that red cape. It was beautiful, red. It was a burgundy velvet and lined in pink satin. I just loved it. It allowed me to be a good witch even when the movie stopped. And so I had this, and I was so excited to have it. And I would every now and then put it on and feel like a witch, a good witch. And unfortunately, in one of my house fires, I think the second house fire, it burned down. I lost paintings, which upset me very much, but I also was very upset to lose that very wonderful cape with a hood, and you could feel mysterious and wonderful.
But
Thank you for asking, and I sure miss it.
Didn't you keep the cat from the movie? Didn't you keep the cat from the movie?
Oh, no, I had my own pie rocket.
You have your own pie
I had
rocket?
my own pie rocket. Yeah, he didn't burn up, thank God.
Domanda qua. Arriva.
Hello, Ms. Novak. It's a really honor to be standing in front of one of the pieces of the wonderful cinema history. I have to say I'm sorry because amongst the hundreds of questions I would love to ask you, I had to choose the most selfish one because I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and I wanted to ask you if there's which piece of advice would you give to a young filmmaker, a young man, while dealing with women on set, of course, actresses?
So he says he has 100 questions, but he's going to only ask the one and the most selfish, which is, what would you recommend a young filmmaker and a male filmmaker does in his work with women actresses on set?
How would you...
how would you, what suggestion would you give him as an actress, as someone that has been on many sets, for a young man handling actresses in the right way while he's filming?
Yes, again, really a good big question, because I do have strong feelings about it, because if you want to be a good film writer, director, whatever, then listen to what everyone has to say and follow your passion, but do listen, because so much of it is listening to what others, because if you never know what you're going to find out. A 3-year-old child or a dog can give you some of the best messages, you don't always have to look to someone's greatness to find out their opinion, because sometimes you never know when it's going to come in. And it's so important to do that, because every great director I worked with listened. They were the great ones, and they knew that you had to be present there, that you had to offer something. But a bad director never, ever even wanted to hear what you had to say. If you wanted to, they'd say, I don't have time, you're going to start shooting in 5 minutes. Just say the dialogue, just say the lines. We don't want to know what you think. But please, don't talk, and that's part to do with the pretty face thing again, because it's like, you don't have to, we don't want to know what you think, just look pretty. Those are the kind of things that you want to avoid. Just listen and look deep into them and see what they have to offer, and that will make you great.
Lei. Grazie.
Hi, the person before me, I'm probably gonna ask a question that's a bit selfish, but first of all, it's a real pleasure to be here because you're a big inspiration for me and I guess for everyone here. I wanted to ask you if you have a bit of advice for someone who wants to work in this industry but finds struggles in trying to beat those voices both inside of my head and from people around me that tell me that I'm never gonna make it.
Well, because it's the people that have nothing really to offer that are saying you can't make. How dare they say that? I mean, how dare they without knowing you and what you have to offer? But you know, it's really important though. And they'll say, well, if only you did this or if only you had that. If you take that advice, you have to offer what you have. And if they don't like it, someone else is going to say, oh my God, she's got something to say here. So don't give up who you are. Never give that up. Because, whatever happens in your life, it's got to happen when the time is right. So you can't always think, oh, gee, no one wants me. Maybe it's not the right time. Look at me. All the critiques I had.
Kim, the mic.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I talk with my hands and okay, maybe I should hold it in the other, then I can still talk with my hands. But yeah, oh golly, I'm sorry. Did you get anything that I said? Because it is so important to don't ever try to change to be what someone else wants you to be. You know, if it's meant to be, it will be. And so many women, you know, we take steps and we make progress. It's like, you know, in the Me Too thing. I understand it, I get it. I went through the same thing. But the thing is, we can't on one hand say that men are taking advantage of us, and without realizing, without questioning ourselves, like, is there anything we're doing that's maybe helping to bring it about? Are we maybe trying to be seductive and at the same time saying, back up. In the meantime, you're trying to be seductive.
Mike.
Oh, I did it again. Thank you. Next time I do it, just come on over and give me a... But anyway, yeah, I totally believe in the Me Too thing, and I totally believe in respecting ourselves totally. But you can't mind somebody getting tempted when they are trying to tempt you, you know? So I think it's a two-way thing. And I think sometimes we can go too far with the Me Too thing. Because look at what's happening. We talk about just being ourselves and da-da-da-da, but then we're still, as women, trying to look seductive, you know? So, we have to equalize it somehow, because you can go too far from one point of view, too far to the other point of view. So I just suggest we just follow, again, what we really think. We have to have our own moral compass, do you know? And so we can't be so trying to set someone else's moral compass before fixing our own. We have to have a moral compass in order to not just tell the others they should, I don't know.
No, I think it's very important.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's about personal responsibility,
Yeah.
I think. And we have, I think, a gentleman here. Yeah.
Salve, io sono il suo più grande ammiratore. Ho tutto di lei. Il film per me, La donna viste due volte, è tra i primi 4 film della storia del cinema. Vorrei sapere,
Vertigo is the best film
per me
of...
lei è un'icona come Rossella O'Hara, come Barbara Stanwyck per La fiamma e il peccato e lei per Vertigo e la Laura Baccal Il grande sonno. Volevo sapere, ma Vertigo è vera la storia che Vera Miles doveva prendere il film, lei?
Che Vera Miles?
Vera Miles doveva fare parte di Maddalene.
Okay.
È vero?
Well, he's saying is
Poi
one.
è stata sostituita dai...
Adesso lo chiedo. Is a major admirer, knows everything about your work, and he thinks that Vertigo is the best film of the history of cinema, and that you're an icon as Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity, you know, like, and he's wondering if it's true that Vera Miles, that initially was two actresses, and Vera Miles was supposed to play Madeleine. Is that true?
And you know, I'm glad I didn't know that at the time, because I get insecure enough without thinking somebody else was first on the list to do this. And so it was I'm glad I didn't hear it. But I did hear it later. And then, of course, the insecure part of me said, oh, maybe she'd have been better. Maybe it should have been Vera Miles. So, I mean, it's like, you have to understand that I'm very, oh, you get it? Okay.
He says it's definitely the best solution, yeah, that you did it. Yeah.
It's a miracle. It was meant to be again, you know?
Ok, grazie. Ci sono altre qua in prima fila.
Thanks. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to speak with you. I have a question about, well, of course, you worked with some of the greatest directors of all time. Is there a particularly, like a single piece of direction that was significant to you that you still remember today from either Hitchcock or Wilder? Thanks.
Is there any, you work with some of the greatest director.
Any what?
Some of the greatest director. Is there any piece of specific direction that they gave you that it was really defining and important and for the work, or for the part?
Out of all my roles? Yeah. Oh, that's like asking someone what's their favorite song. When they ask me, I have so many favorites depending on the gender, you know?
Mike.
And so, just get up and pinch me.
Okay.
Well, we might take that the wrong way. But yeah, that's so hard because there's been so many. But let me think if anything off the top of my head that I can think of that. There's just so many. And you know, when we leave here, I'm going to think, oh my God, I meant to tell him this and that, you know, but there are just so many things.
Was there a moment where
Maybe
you were...
help bring me on to
Yeah,
that.
was there a moment when you were stuck with a character, like you were trying to figure out a character,
Yeah.
and the director came and said, Kim, this is it, do this or think that, and that unblocked it? Was there anything like that?
You know, the way I got inspired to do something was again by, it sounds silly, but I would start to draw to see who she was. And so I'd get to know her that
You mean
way.
like making an actual
on the
painting?
Script, I would, start drawing pictures of her and getting to know her that way. I think the most important thing comes from not just one director, but from all the great directors, is giving you the chance to discover, you know, and from those incredible, every movie that you really liked, those are with good directors. And the gift, the words, the magic that they gave me was to let me find it in myself. And as I say, I found it with getting to know the characters that I painted, you know. So I would love to give them credit for lots of words of wisdom, but the best wisdom was the same advice that I was giving there to discover it for yourself, you know.
And there was a question here, and it's also in first row.
Hello, Ms. Novak. It's a pleasure to be in your company.
Thank you.
My question is about the nature of the male dominance in film industry and how you manage to protect your sense of self and independence and to stay true to who you are in that kind of environment, and if there is any kind of advice you would give to perhaps your younger self or young women in the industry nowadays.
You know, that kind of is almost like the Me Too
Yeah.
movement. And
May
And-
I? You have a little? No, no, don't
I thought you were going to pinch me.
No, no. There was a tiny
I
ant.
don't hold it here.
No, no, no. There was a tiny ant that was
Thank you.
making her way, you know.
Don't remind me of the makeup people way back then.
No.
You'd be doing a scene and you were so into it and you know it was so real and so good. And the hairdresser would interrupt you. They'd have to cut while they come and take that one hair out.
No.
I'm sorry.
It was a tiny ant. So.
Well, I did think she was coming after me about
No,
the
no,
mic
no. Oh,
again.
no, you're not
What do I have
perfect.
to do, swallow it?
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, now I forgot.
Well, if she asked you how do you, how would you advise a younger version of yourself or a young woman that's starting as an acting career to keep her,
Oh, yeah.
the sense of self and her dignity
Yes.
as she starts working?
Yeah, I think it's like you have to, again, hold on to your feelings, but sometimes I think in situations that I was in, which were Me Too kind of situations, you know, and all of a sudden you're in the room and the director starts, you know, getting too close. I think that the ways I didn't want to react is overreact. And then, but on the same token, you have to, I mean, to me, the way I handled it was sort of, you know, I didn't reprehend them for it, but I also didn't say it's okay. So I sort of just made light of it, and before you know it, I mean, because sometimes if you tell them too strongly, it makes them more feeling challenged. Oh yeah, I'm coming over there, you know. I mean, and so you have to try to keep it, try to maneuver your way out without totally putting them down or giving them permission. And I do think there's a way. I mean, it's hard to believe, but at that time, there was a lot of that going on. But I always managed to get through it by just not, you know, by just letting it be maneuvered rather than, I mean, anyway, it worked. But then it did leave me also feeling insecure, thinking, how come nobody ever wants to disrupt your, I don't know what to say. But you know,
Mike.
do you know what I mean? Oh, and you were afraid to come over.
I was afraid to come over because I'd be told I'm like the makeup artist. No.
Why can't you have a mic that? It's all right. It's too late to check.
There is another question right here on first row.
Hi, Kim. It's an absolute honour to have you here. Vertigo has been my favourite film for as long as I've been alive, pretty much. I'd love to know your favourite scene in Vertigo, but also I'd love to hear you talking about working with Jack Lemmon, since you worked together 3 times.
Your favorite scene in Vertigo?
Oh. Well, my favorite scene in that one actually is when he's where Jimmy Stewart.
Mike.
Oh. You see, I'm a reactor, and I'm reacting to, well, anyway. My favorite scene is when Jimmy Stewart has brought her, Judy, into the department store to pick her clothes, you know. I love that scene because it's like, but it's right after that, and I'm not sure exactly where it happens, but it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, she's so tired of him asking her to do that, but it's like, if it'll make you love me, will that do it, you know? And to me it was, I mean, because I don't know if everyone wants love, but I mean, I certainly, love is important in my life, and I'm feeling that love from you guys, and it is making me feel so good. But she, at that point, is willing to do whatever it takes just to be loved by him, you know? And I felt, it made me feel like I was there naked, really, you know? I mean, because it was like I was, all of a sudden was willing to turn over whatever he wanted, whatever it took, you know? And even, of course, it was the risk of getting exposed to that you were the bad one and everything. But she had to take that risk because she wanted love so much. She had to expose herself, but even, you know, was constantly resisting. Anyway, that was my favorite scene. That kind of drifted between those two.
He's also asked how to tell about working with Jack Lemmon, because you did more than one film together.
Which film?
Jack Lemmon. Working with Jack Lemmon.
Oh, Jack Lemmon. Oh my God, that was a joy, a total joy. Yeah, he was wonderful. The only thing, he was an actor's actor. I mean, a great actor, and he was able to just think, I could not do this. Just before he'd go on, he'd say, happy time, and it would throw me off sometimes because I think, happy time, I'll be lucky if I can remember my lines. But he was wonderful. It's like having a big brother, you know, that you sometimes get into disputes with because of the approach, you know. I mean, his approach and my approach was so different. I mean, but it was like we both respected each other's approach, you know. He respected mine, and I certainly respected him. I wished I could have done all the incredible things that he did. I loved him so much in Bell, Book and Candle when he turned on the lights, street lights, and playing the drums in the. Yeah, he was. I got a whole. He was amazing.
We have time for one more. I guess she'll have it. Yeah.
Hi, Miss Novak. As everyone else has said, I can't not start by saying what a pleasure for you to be here for all of us. Thank you. I'd love to know your perspective on Hollywood today and the film industry. Do you think it's better? Do you think it's improved since you were working? Or do you think there are ways in which it's taken a step backwards? Thank you.
She's asking your perspective on the film industry today,
Yeah.
If it's better or it's backwards.
I think it is so much better. I really do. Of course, when you look back, we see things that we like and all of that. But I love the freedom. Freedom, as you know, is my theme. And I don't like anybody who wants to argue with me being free, like dictators. Anyway, back to the point, to answer, is I love the freedom that exists in show business. I love it. And that's one place they are not able to take it away from us, you know? And I love the way that people are able to express their feelings. I mean, to me, I think I was in a way born at the wrong time. I would love to be in the industry right now, but I couldn't remember all the lines, you know, so I couldn't do it. But I love it. I love the freedom, and I love the fact that people are able to pick their own parts and movies, and when they do, hopefully it's for the right reasons. I'm a little concerned, I have to speak out, about the movie that's about to be made, about Sammy Davis' relationship, you know. And
Well, go ahead.
Oh,
No. Go
okay.
ahead. I'm curious.
I just feel, I think actors have a wonderful place of doing whatever, but I think in my case, I'm not an actress, I'm a reactress. You know, I mean, and so therefore, I'd like to see somebody playing that role that is more of a reactor than an actor. And I think that the person that there is going to be doing it is a really wonderful actress. I truly do. She's really good. But I don't think we want an actress for that role. I think you want a reactress. You know, somebody that I don't know, but I just, anyway, and it's my personal feeling, and you might feel totally different, and that's fine. I just don't want to be remembered as, I want to be remembered not as an actress, but as
an artist.
Reactress. I don't know how to say it.
I think Kim, I think we're talking about being remembered as a great artist, which is what you are.
Yeah.
And whether you're doing films or whether you're doing painting.
Well said. Yes.
And so with this, last question. Do you have one more?
Yeah,
one more?
sure.
Okay, one more.
Sure.
And then we have to
yes.
go. Yeah, one more.
Grazie. Sì, io volevo chiedere in particolare se, soprattutto con Mr. Hitchcock, lei ha avuto libertà sul suo copione, sulle battute, oppure se ha dovuto seguire rigorosamente le battute e le indicazioni del copione.
She's asking if with Hitchcock, you had to stick by the lines on the script, or you could vary them a little bit.
No, he didn't want you to mess with the lines. Yeah, that mattered to him. And I respect that. But the lines were, when you got a good script, the lines are easy to learn, for instance, because, I mean, I used to read a script and I knew it right away when it was a good script. And so it matters. He really wanted the essence. You're right. There was a bit you could do to it in the sense that it made it real to you. He didn't mind that, but on the other hand, they were so well written. I mean, I wouldn't want to change a word, you know.
And with this, we have to close. Kim, you've been incredibly generous with your time, with your ideas, and yes.